Chapter 1. Stop waiting to feel ready. Most people are waiting. Waiting to feel motivated. Waiting to feel confident. Waiting to feel prepared. They tell themselves, "I'll start when I feel ready." Let me tell you the truth. You will never feel ready. That feeling you're waiting for does not arrive. And if it does, it never stays. That's the trap. Motivation is emotional. Emotions change. One day you feel strong. The next day you feel tired. One day you feel inspired. The next day you feel lazy. If you wait for motivation, you live in delay. And delay is how dreams die. You have a choice. You can wait for the perfect feeling, or you can act without it. That's the key. Successful people do not feel ready. They move anyway. They take action first. The confidence comes later. They don't wait for courage. They build courage by doing hard things. You have a choice. You can let feelings control your actions, or you can let discipline control your life. That's the difference. Look at any athlete who wins championships. They don't wake up every day excited to train. Some days they're sore. Some days they're tired. Some days they're mentally drained. But they show up anyway. Because they are not led by feelings. They are led by discipline. That's the key. Amateurs wait to feel good. Professionals show up no matter what. And life rewards professionals. You don't need their permission. You don't need someone to motivate you. You don't need perfect conditions. You only need to start. Right now, most people sabotage their lives with one sentence. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And next year becomes regret. You have a choice. Start now, or stay stuck. That's the key. Discipline does not ask how you feel. Discipline asks one question. What needs to be done? And then it does it. No excuses. No emotional negotiation. Just action. You see, your brain is designed to avoid discomfort. It wants comfort. It wants ease. It wants shortcuts. So it lies to you. It tells you, rest today. Start tomorrow. You deserve a break. It's not the right time. But discipline hears the lie and moves anyway. That's the key. Every time you take action when you don't feel like it, you get stronger. Every time you delay, you get weaker. This is how habits are formed. Not by feeling good, by repeating actions. You don't become disciplined overnight. You become disciplined by doing small hard things daily, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. That's the key. Let's make this real. If you want to get fit, you don't wait until you feel energetic. You work out tired. If you want to build a business, you don't wait for inspiration. You work when you're bored. If you want to improve your life, you don't wait for perfect timing. You act now. You have a choice. Feelings or discipline. Comfort or growth. Delay or progress. That's the key. Here's the rule you must adopt. Action first. Feeling second. Move your body. Start the task. Begin the work. The motivation will follow. It always does. But it never comes before action. That's why waiting fails. That's why discipline wins. You don't need their permission. You don't need applause. You don't need motivation. You need commitment. Small commitments. Daily commitments. Non-negotiable commitments. That's the key. From now on, stop asking yourself, do I feel like it? Start asking, is this what the disciplined version of me would do? And then do it. No debate. No delay. Just action. This is how you break the cycle. This is how you change your life. One disciplined action at a time. Even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable. Because comfort builds weakness. Discipline builds power. You have a choice. Weakness or strength. Excuses or results. Waiting or winning. That's the key. Every successful person you admire has mastered this one skill. They move before they feel ready. They act when it's hard. They show up when it's inconvenient. And over time, they become unstoppable. Not because they're special, but because they're disciplined. And you can do the same. Starting today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. You don't need perfect conditions. You need consistent action. It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. Say it again. It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. This chapter taught you to stop waiting, to stop delaying, to stop letting emotions decide your future. You learned that discipline moves first, and feelings follow. You mastered the power of action without motivation. Now it's time to go deeper, because starting is not enough. You must build something that lasts. You mastered not waiting to feel ready. Now let's talk about why habits beat motivation every time. Chapter 2. Motivation is temporary, habits are permanent. Motivation is loud. It comes in waves. It makes big promises. It gives you energy for a moment, and then it disappears. That's the truth. You feel motivated after watching a video. You feel motivated after hearing a speech. You feel motivated when something excites you. But motivation fades. It always fades. That's the key. That's why most people start strong and quit fast. They rely on feelings. And feelings don't last. You have a choice. Build your life on emotions. Or build your life on habits. That's the key. Habits don't care how you feel. Habits show up automatically. Habits run your life whether you think about them or not. Right now, you already live by habits. You brush your teeth without motivation. You check your phone without motivation. You eat without motivation. You just do it. Because it's a habit. That's the power you must use. Not excitement. Not inspiration. Discipline. That's the key. Motivation gets you started. Habits keep you going. And life is not about starting. Life is about finishing. You have a choice. Start again and again. Or build something permanent. That's the key. Look at people who get in shape every year. January hits. They feel motivated. They buy gym memberships. They work out hard. Then February comes. Motivation drops. The gym gets empty. Same story. Every year. Why? Because motivation was doing the work. Not discipline. Not habits. That's the key. Now look at someone who's fit all year long. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on routine. They go at the same time. They follow the same plan. They don't think about it. They just do it. Habit. That's the key. Habits remove the struggle. Habits remove decision-making. Habits make discipline automatic. When something becomes a habit, you don't argue with yourself anymore. You don't ask how you feel. You just act. You don't need their permission. You don't need motivation. You need systems. Simple systems. Daily systems. That's the key. Here's how habits are built. Not with big actions. With small consistent ones. Most people try to change everything at once. They burn out. They quit. They fail. Discipline works differently. Discipline starts small. It repeats. It compounds. That's the key. If you want to build a habit, start so small it feels easy. 5 minutes of exercise. 10 minutes of reading. One small task. Do it every day. No matter what. You have a choice. Big effort once. Or small effort daily. That's the key. Small daily effort wins. Every time. Because it becomes automatic. And automatic beats emotional. Say it again. Automatic beats emotional. Habits beat motivation. Every time. You see, your brain loves patterns. When you repeat something daily, your brain wires it in. It becomes part of who you are. You stop forcing it. You start being it. That's the key. You're not trying to work out. You're someone who works out. You're not trying to read. You're someone who reads. You're not trying to be disciplined. You are disciplined. That identity is built by habits, not motivation. You have a choice. Try hard sometimes. Or be consistent always. That's the key. Motivation is like a spark. It lights a fire quickly, but it burns out fast. Habits are like slow-burning coals. They last. They grow. They create lasting heat. That's the key. You don't need intense effort. You need repeated effort. You don't need huge changes. You need daily actions. It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. It's not about excitement. It's about consistency. That's the key. Here's your instruction. Pick one habit. 1. Not 10. 1. Make it small. Make it easy. Do it every day. No matter what. No excuses. No emotional debate. That's the key. When you miss a day, don't quit. You have a choice. Quit. Or continue. That's the key. Never miss twice. Missing once is human. Missing twice becomes a habit. Discipline means you get back on track immediately. No guilt. No drama. Just action. That's the key. Over weeks, your habit becomes natural. Over months, it becomes part of your identity. Over years, it transforms your life. All without motivation. All through discipline. You don't need their permission. You don't need hype. You need habits. Simple. Daily. Relentless. That's the key. This is why discipline always wins. Because discipline builds systems. And systems run your life. Motivation tries. Discipline transforms. Say it again. Motivation tries. Discipline transforms. You have a choice. Live in emotional cycles. Or live by disciplined habits. That's the key. This chapter taught you the truth. Motivation is temporary. Habits are permanent. You learned to stop chasing excitement and start building systems. You learned that small daily actions beat big emotional bursts. You mastered the power of habits. Now it's time to strengthen something even deeper. Because discipline is tested most when you don't feel like continuing. You built habits. Now let's talk about the days when everything in you wants to quit. Chapter 3. Do it when you don't feel like it. This is where discipline is truly built. Not on easy days. Not on good days. But on hard days. The days when you're tired. The days when you're bored. The days when you want to quit. That's where winners are made. You have a choice. Give in to discomfort. Or push through it. That's the key. Most people only work when it feels good. When energy is high. When motivation is strong. But life doesn't work that way. Success doesn't wait for perfect days. Success is built on uncomfortable days. That's the key. You don't grow when it's easy. You grow when it's hard. Muscles don't grow when you lift light weight. They grow when you push heavy weight. The same is true for your mind. Discipline grows when you act through resistance. That's the key. Every time you do what you don't feel like doing, you level up. Every time you quit, you train weakness. You have a choice. Strength or comfort. That's the key. Let's be honest. There will always be days you don't feel like working. There will always be days you don't feel like training. There will always be days you don't feel like staying focused. Waiting for those days to disappear is a fantasy. They never disappear. Discipline teaches you to move anyway. That's the key. Look at the most successful people in the world. They don't feel motivated every day. They feel resistance too. The difference is, they don't obey it. They acknowledge it. Then they act anyway. You don't need their permission. You don't need perfect feelings. You need controlled action. That's the key. Your mind will always search for excuses. I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. I've worked hard enough. Those thoughts feel real, but they are lies. They are your comfort brain trying to protect you. Discipline tells your brain, we're doing it anyway. That's the key. Here's a powerful rule. When you feel like quitting, do a little more. When you feel tired, do one more rep. When you feel bored, work 5 more minutes. This trains your mind to obey you, not the other way around. That's the key. Discipline is not about being extreme. It's about being consistent under pressure. Small pushes through discomfort. Every day. That's how toughness is built. You have a choice. Avoid discomfort. Or use it. That's the key. Discomfort is not the enemy. Discomfort is the teacher. It shows you where growth is. Every time you push through it, you become stronger. Every time you run from it, you stay the same. That's the key. Think about this. The life you want requires actions you don't feel like doing. Waking up early, staying focused, eating better, working harder. There is no version of success that feels easy every day. There isn't. So waiting for easy days is waiting forever. You have a choice. Wait forever. Or push today. That's the key. Here's how you apply this. When resistance hits, don't think. Act immediately. Stand up. Move. Start the task. The longer you think, the weaker you become. Action breaks resistance. That's the key. Count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move. No debate. No delay. Just action. This simple trick bypasses emotion and activates discipline. That's the key. Another rule. Never trust how you feel in the moment. Feelings are temporary. Discipline is permanent. You may feel tired now, but energy comes after action. You may feel bored now, but focus comes after starting. You may feel unmotivated now, but momentum comes after movement. That's the key. Action creates energy, not the other way around. Say it again. Action creates energy. Motivation follows action. Discipline leads everything. That's the key. You don't need their permission. You don't need a good mood. You don't need perfect timing. You need courage. Small courage. Daily courage. The courage to do what's uncomfortable. That's the key. Every disciplined person has mastered this. They've trained themselves to move through resistance. They don't wait for it to disappear. They move while it's there. And over time, resistance gets weaker. Discipline gets stronger. That's the key. This is why most people quit. They quit when it feels hard. But hard is the doorway to growth. Hard is the signal you're changing. Hard is where winners are separated. You have a choice. Quit when it's hard. Or push when it's hard. That's the key. Remember this. Easy days don't build strong people. Hard days do. Comfort doesn't create success. Discipline does. It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. Say it again. It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. This chapter taught you to push through discomfort, to act when you don't feel like it, to use resistance as a tool for growth. You learned that hard days are the most important days. You mastered moving without emotion. Now let's go deeper. Because discipline isn't just about action. It's about how you see yourself. You pushed through discomfort. Now let's talk about why discipline is self-respect in action. Chapter 4. Discipline is self-respect in action. Every action you take is a message to yourself. When you keep promises to yourself, you build confidence. When you break them, you destroy trust. That's the key. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect. It's how you show yourself that you matter. You have a choice. Respect yourself. Or keep letting yourself down. That's the key. Most people struggle with confidence. They wonder why they don't believe in themselves. The answer is simple. They keep breaking promises. They say they'll start. They don't. They say they'll stay consistent. They quit. Over time, their mind learns. I can't trust myself. That's the key. Confidence is built by kept commitments. Not by positive thinking. Not by motivation. By discipline. Every small promise you keep strengthens you. Every broken promise weakens you. You have a choice. Build trust with yourself. Or destroy it. That's the key. Look at disciplined people. They walk differently. They speak differently. They carry themselves with strength. Not because they're perfect. Because they respect themselves. They do what they say they will do, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. That's the key. Discipline is you saying, I matter enough to follow through. It's you choosing growth over comfort. It's you choosing your future over your feelings. That's the key. Most people look for respect from others. They want praise. They want approval. They want validation. But real confidence comes from within. It comes from knowing you can rely on yourself. You don't need their permission. You don't need applause. You need integrity. That's the key. Integrity is doing what you said you'd do. When nobody is watching. When it's uncomfortable. When it's boring. That's discipline. And discipline is self-respect. You have a choice. Seek approval. Or build self-trust. That's the key. Here's something important. Every time you choose discipline, you are choosing the person you want to become. You are casting a vote for your future self. Every workout, every focused hour, every healthy decision, every time you push through resistance, you are building a stronger identity. That's the key. On the other hand, every excuse is a vote for weakness. Every delay is a vote for staying the same. Every quit is a vote for regret. You have a choice. Who are you voting for today? That's the key. Let's make this practical. Stop making big promises you won't keep. Start making small ones you will. Promise to work 10 minutes. Promise to walk today. Promise to read 1 page. Then do it. No matter what. That's the key. Small wins build self-respect. Self-respect builds confidence. Confidence builds momentum. Momentum changes your life. That's the key. Most people try to change everything at once. They fail. They feel bad. They quit. Discipline is built slowly, through consistency, through follow-through, through small daily commitments. That's the key. Here's a rule to live by. Never lie to yourself. If you say you'll do something, do it. Even if it's small, even if it's uncomfortable, even if you don't feel like it. That's the key. Your word to yourself must mean something. When it does, you become powerful. When it doesn't, you become weak. You have a choice. Power or weakness. That's the key. Another truth. Self-respect grows when you do hard things. Comfort doesn't build pride. Discipline does. Think about the last time you pushed through something hard. You felt proud after. Stronger. More confident. That feeling didn't come from comfort. It came from effort. That's the key. Your mind rewards discipline. It knows when you show strength. It knows when you quit. That's why disciplined people feel good about themselves. They've earned it. You don't need their permission. You don't need praise. You need progress. That's the key. Discipline is how you take control of your life. It's how you stop being controlled by emotions. It's how you stop being controlled by excuses. It's how you become reliable, strong, focused. That's the key. From now on, treat every disciplined action as self-respect. See it as building your identity, not as suffering, not as punishment, as growth, as power, as transformation. That's the key. When you wake up early, that's self-respect. When you work when you're tired, that's self-respect. When you stay consistent, that's self-respect. And over time, that self-respect turns into confidence. That confidence turns into success. You have a choice. Respect yourself daily, or stay stuck. That's the key. This chapter taught you that discipline is not just action. It's identity. It's how you build trust with yourself. It's how you grow confidence. You learned that every kept promise makes you stronger. You mastered discipline as self-respect. Now let's go even deeper. Because discipline is not just about effort. It's about control. Control over your emotions. Control over your reactions. You built self-respect. Now let's talk about why your feelings are not in charge. Chapter 5. Your feelings are not in charge. Most people live controlled by emotion. If they feel good, they work. If they feel tired, they stop. If they feel motivated, they push. If they feel bored, they quit. Their feelings run their life. And their life stays the same. That's the key. Feelings are not facts. Feelings are temporary. Feelings change hour by hour. If you obey feelings, you live in chaos. Discipline creates order. That's the key. You have a choice. Let emotions decide your actions, or let discipline decide your future. That's the key. High performers don't feel better than you. They just don't obey every feeling. They feel tired too. They feel doubt too. They feel resistance too. But they act anyway. That's the key. Your feelings will always look for the easy way. They want comfort. They want rest. They want pleasure. There's nothing wrong with feelings. But they are terrible leaders. Discipline must lead. That's the key. Imagine if you only brushed your teeth when you felt like it. Your life would fall apart. You brush them because it's a habit. Because it's discipline. Not because of emotion. Apply that same thinking to your goals. That's the key. You don't work when you feel inspired. You work because it's time to work. You don't train when you feel energetic. You train because it's time to train. You don't stay consistent because it feels good. You stay consistent because that's who you are. That's the key. Here's the truth. Your feelings will often lie. They will tell you, you can skip today. You deserve a break. Tomorrow will be better. Sometimes rest is needed, but most of the time, it's just comfort talking. Discipline knows the difference. That's the key. The disciplined person rests with purpose. The undisciplined person rests with excuses. You have a choice. Purpose or excuses. That's the key. Here's a powerful mindset shift. Stop asking, how do I feel? Start asking, what needs to be done? That simple question removes emotion. It puts you in control. That's the key. When you wake up tired, what needs to be done? When you don't feel like working, what needs to be done? When you want to quit, what needs to be done? Then do it. No debate. No emotional negotiation. Just action. That's the key. Another truth. Feelings follow action. Not the other way around. You don't wait to feel productive. You work until you feel productive. You don't wait to feel strong. You train until you feel strong. You don't wait to feel confident. You act until you feel confident. That's the key. Action changes emotion. Discipline controls emotion. Say it again. Discipline controls emotion. That's the key. This is why motivation fails. Motivation depends on feelings. Discipline ignores them. And that's why discipline wins. Every time. You don't need their permission. You don't need to feel good. You need to do what matters. That's the key. Let's make this practical. Create non-negotiables. Things you do no matter what. No matter how you feel. Your workout. Your focused work time. Your daily habit. These are fixed. Not optional. That's the key. When something is non-negotiable, you stop debating. You just do it. Just like brushing your teeth. Just like going to work. That's discipline. And discipline creates freedom. That's the key. Most people think discipline is restrictive. It's not. It's freeing. When you control your actions, you control your life. When emotions control you, your life is unstable. You have a choice. Freedom or chaos. That's the key. Here's another rule. Don't make decisions based on mood. Make them based on values. Your value is growth. Your value is consistency. Your value is progress. Act according to values, not feelings. That's the key. Feelings come and go. Values stay. Discipline is living by values. Even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable. That's the key. Over time, you'll notice something. The more you ignore feelings and act, the stronger you become. The less power emotions have over you. You stop being controlled. You become the controller. That's the key. This is mental toughness. This is emotional mastery. This is discipline in action. You have a choice. Obey emotions, or lead them. That's the key. This chapter taught you that feelings are not the boss. You learned to act regardless of mood. You learned that discipline leads and emotions follow. You mastered emotional control through action. Now let's move to the next level. Because to make discipline easier, you must remove choice. You must create routines that run automatically. You learned to control feelings. Now let's talk about building routines that run on autopilot. Chapter 6. Build routines that run on autopilot. Discipline becomes easy when you remove choice. The more you decide, the harder it gets. The more you automate, the stronger you become. That's the key. Most people fail because they rely on willpower. Willpower is limited. It gets tired. It gets weak. Routines don't. Habits don't. That's the key. When something becomes routine, you don't argue with yourself. You don't negotiate. You just do it. Just like brushing your teeth. Just like getting dressed. Just like checking your phone. It happens automatically. That's the power you must use. You have a choice. Rely on motivation and willpower. Or build routines. That's the key. High performers structure their life. They don't leave success to chance. They don't decide every day what to do. They follow routines. Morning routines. Work routines. Training routines. Sleep routines. That's the key. Routines remove emotion. Routines remove excuses. Routines create consistency. And consistency creates results. That's the key. Let's make this practical. Pick specific times for your key habits. Not sometime today. Specific. 7 a.m. workout. 9 a.m. focused work. 8 p.m. reading. When it's time, you do it. No debate. That's the key. Your brain learns patterns. When you repeat something at the same time, it becomes automatic. You stop relying on feeling. You rely on structure. That's the key. Another powerful tool is habit stacking. You attach a new habit to an existing one. After you wake up, you stretch. After you eat breakfast, you work. After you brush your teeth, you read. This makes habits easier. That's the key. Don't try to change everything at once. Build one routine. Lock it in. Then add another. Slow. Steady. Relentless. That's the key. Here's another rule. Make good habits easy. Make bad habits hard. Prepare your gym clothes the night before. Remove junk food from your house. Block distractions during work time. Design your environment for discipline. That's the key. Your environment shapes your behavior. More than motivation ever will. If your environment supports laziness, you'll be lazy. If your environment supports discipline, you'll be disciplined. You have a choice. Design for failure or design for success. That's the key. Most people try to fight bad habits with willpower. That rarely works. Smart people change their environment. They remove temptation. They make discipline easier. That's the key. Routines create momentum. Once you start moving, it's easier to keep going. The hardest part is starting. Routines remove that struggle. Because starting becomes automatic. That's the key. You don't need their permission. You don't need hype. You need structure. Simple structure. Daily structure. That's the key. Think of routines as rails on a train track. Once the train is on the track, it moves forward naturally, without constant effort, without constant decision-making. Routines guide your life forward. That's the key. Without routines, you rely on emotion. With routines, you rely on systems. And systems always beat feelings. Say it again. Systems beat feelings. That's the key. This is why disciplined people seem consistent. They're not stronger than you. They're structured better. They've removed choice. They've built autopilot. That's the key. Here's a simple routine formula. Same time. Same action. Every day. That's it. Keep it simple. Keep it repeatable. Keep it consistent. That's the key. Over time, your routine becomes effortless. What once felt hard becomes normal. What once felt uncomfortable becomes easy. That's how discipline compounds. That's the key. You have a choice. Live reactively, or live by routine. That's the key. Reactive living waits for feelings. Routine living creates results. You don't wait to feel productive. Your routine makes you productive. You don't wait to feel motivated. Your routine moves you forward. That's the key. This chapter taught you how to make discipline easier. By removing choice. By building structure. By creating autopilot habits. You learned that routines beat willpower. You mastered the power of systems. Now let's take discipline even further. Because small actions done daily create massive change. You built routines. Now let's talk about how tiny disciplined actions create huge wins. Chapter 7. Small disciplined actions create massive wins. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. That's the key. They want big results fast. They want overnight success. They want instant change. But real transformation is built slowly, quietly, daily. That's the key. Success is not one huge action. It's many small disciplined actions repeated over time. You have a choice. Chase quick results or build lasting progress. That's the key. Small actions feel insignificant. That's why most people ignore them. But small actions compound. Just like money in a bank account. Just like interest growing over time. Little by little. Day by day. That's the key. One workout won't change your body, but hundreds will. One focused hour won't change your career, but thousands will. One healthy meal won't change your life, but consistent habits will. That's the key. People quit because they don't see fast results. They think it's not working, but it is working. You just can't see it yet. That's the key. Progress is invisible before it becomes obvious. Discipline is working even when you don't notice. You have a choice. Trust the process. Or quit too early. That's the key. Think about building a house. You don't see much in the first few days. Just dirt. Just foundation. But without that slow work, nothing stands. Over time, the structure rises. The same is true for discipline. Small actions build the foundation. That's the key. Here's a powerful truth. Big wins come from boring consistency, not from intense bursts, not from motivation spikes, from daily discipline. That's the key. Most people want excitement, but excitement doesn't last. Consistency does. You don't need to feel amazing every day. You need to show up every day. That's the key. Let's make this practical. Stop trying to change your life in a week. Focus on winning today. Just today. Do today's workout. Do today's work. Make today's good choice. Then repeat tomorrow. That's the key. When you focus only on today, discipline feels easier. You're not overwhelmed. You're just executing. Small. Simple. Daily. That's the key. Another truth. Small improvements add up faster than big ones. Getting 1% better every day compounds massively over time. But you must be consistent. That's the key. Most people swing between extremes. They work hard for a week, then quit for a month. That's not progress. That's chaos. Discipline is steady, not extreme. That's the key. You have a choice. Extreme effort sometimes, or steady effort always. That's the key. Steady wins. Every time. Discipline doesn't rush. Discipline repeats. Discipline compounds. That's the key. Here's an important mindset. Don't judge your progress daily. Judge it monthly. Weekly changes are small. Monthly changes are noticeable. Yearly changes are life-changing. That's the key. If you look every day, you'll feel like nothing is happening. If you stay consistent, everything will change. That's the key. You don't need their permission. You don't need fast results. You need patience and discipline. That's the key. Another powerful concept. Never miss twice. Missing once is normal. Missing twice creates a new habit. Discipline means getting back on track immediately. No guilt. No quitting. Just continue. That's the key. Small actions done daily create unstoppable momentum. Momentum makes discipline easier. The more you do, the easier it becomes. That's the key. Over time, what felt hard becomes normal. What felt normal becomes easy. What felt easy becomes automatic. That's the power of compounding discipline. That's the key. Most people give up right before the breakthrough. Right before results become visible. Right before progress accelerates. Don't be most people. Stay disciplined. That's the key. Remember this. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. And habits are built with small daily actions. That's the key. Your future is being created right now. By what you do today. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Today. You have a choice. Small disciplined actions. Or small excuses. Both compound. One builds success. The other builds regret. That's the key. This chapter taught you the power of consistency. You learned that small actions repeated daily create massive change. You learned to trust the process. You mastered the compound effect of discipline. Now let's move forward. Because discipline doesn't just build progress. It separates winners from wishers. You built momentum. Now let's talk about what truly separates successful people from everyone else. Chapter 8. Discipline separates winners from wishers. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants a better life. Everyone has dreams. But very few people are willing to live disciplined. That's the key. Winners do what others won't. Wishers talk about what they want. Winners act. Wishers wait. That's the key. The difference between successful people and average people is not talent. It's not luck. It's not intelligence. It's discipline. Daily discipline. Relentless discipline. That's the key. Most people want results without the routine. They want the reward without the work. They want the outcome without the process. But life doesn't work that way. You don't get what you want. You get what you do consistently. That's the key. Wishers make plans. Winners make progress. Wishers talk. Winners execute. Wishers wait for motivation. Winners rely on discipline. That's the key. You have a choice. Be a wisher or be a winner. That's the key. Look around you. Most people are stuck. Same job. Same habits. Same problems. Year after year. Not because they can't change. Because they won't stay disciplined. That's the key. Change requires daily effort. Not occasional effort. Most people do something when they feel like it. Winners do it whether they feel like it or not. That's the key. Winners understand something simple. Success is boring. It's waking up early. It's doing the same habits. It's repeating the same routines. Over and over. Wishers chase excitement. Winners chase progress. That's the key. Most people want fast results. Winners are patient. They understand compounding. They understand consistency. They understand that discipline always pays off. That's the key. Here's another truth. Winners take responsibility. Wishers make excuses. Winners say, "It's on me." Wishers say, "It's not my fault." That's the key. Every excuse delays success. Every disciplined action moves it closer. You have a choice. Excuses or execution. That's the key. Winners don't wait for perfect conditions. They create progress in imperfect ones. Wishers wait for the right time. There is no right time. There is only now. That's the key. Winners understand that success is built when nobody is watching. Early mornings. Late nights. Quiet effort. Wishers want recognition. Winners want results. That's the key. You don't need their permission. You don't need validation. You need discipline. That's the key. Let's be real. There will always be someone more talented than you. There will always be someone smarter than you. But very few people will outwork you consistently. Discipline is the great equalizer. That's the key. It allows ordinary people to achieve extraordinary things. It allows average starts to lead to great finishes. That's the key. Most people quit when it gets boring. Winners stay when it's boring. Because boring builds greatness. That's the key. Think about any long-term success. Athletes train for years. Businesses grow over decades. Skills are mastered through thousands of hours. There is no shortcut. There is only discipline. That's the key. Wishers look for hacks. Winners follow habits. Wishers chase motivation. Winners rely on routine. That's the key. Another truth. Winners are willing to be uncomfortable longer. They sacrifice comfort today for freedom tomorrow. Wishers choose comfort now and struggle later. You have a choice. Comfort now, or success later. That's the key. Discipline is choosing what you want most, over what you want now. Say it again. Discipline is choosing what you want most, over what you want now. That's the key. When you wake up early instead of sleeping in, that's discipline. When you work instead of scrolling, that's discipline. When you train instead of resting, that's discipline. And those choices add up. That's the key. This is why winners keep winning. Not because it's easy, because they're disciplined. They've trained themselves to act regardless of feeling. That's the key. You have the same opportunity, the same 24 hours, the same potential. The difference will be your discipline. That's the key. This chapter taught you the real separator. Not talent, not luck, but discipline. You learned that winners execute while others wait. You mastered the mindset of action over excuses. Now let's go even deeper. Because discipline isn't just physical. It's mental. You must train your mind to obey you. You separated yourself from wishers. Now let's talk about mastering your mind. Chapter 9. Train your mind to obey you. Your mind is powerful. But if you don't control it, it will control you. That's the key. Most people are slaves to their thoughts. Every excuse, every doubt, every moment of laziness, they obey it, and their life stays the same. That's the key. Discipline is training your mind to follow commands, not emotions, not comfort, but purpose. That's the key. Your mind will always try to take the easy path. It will suggest rest when you need effort. It will suggest quitting when you need persistence. It will suggest delay when you need action. That's normal. But you don't have to listen. You have a choice. Obey the mind. Or lead the mind. That's the key. High performers talk to themselves differently. They don't negotiate with weakness. They command action. They say, get up. Start now. Finish the task. No emotion, just direction. That's the key. Your mind responds to commands. When you hesitate, it grows stronger. When you act immediately, it gets quieter. That's the key. Here's a powerful tool. The 5-second rule. When you feel resistance, count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move. No thinking. No delay. Just action. That interrupts hesitation. That trains obedience. That's the key. Another powerful method. Talk to yourself in third person. Instead of I don't feel like it, say, you're doing it anyway. This separates emotion from action. This puts you in control. That's the key. Your mind must learn that you are in charge. Not moods. Not excuses. Not fear. That's the key. Every time you act immediately, you strengthen discipline. Every time you hesitate, you strengthen resistance. You have a choice. Train obedience. Or train weakness. That's the key. Another truth. Your thoughts will often exaggerate discomfort. It will make tasks seem harder than they are. Once you start, you realize it's not that bad. That's the key. The mind creates fear before action. Action destroys fear. Say it again. Action destroys fear. That's the key. Most people wait until fear goes away. Winners act while fear is present. That's discipline. That's mental toughness. That's the key. Here's a daily practice. Do one hard thing first. Every morning. Before distractions. Before excuses. Before comfort. This trains your mind to obey early. That's the key. When you win the morning, you win the day. Momentum builds. Discipline gets stronger. That's the key. Another strategy. Set clear rules. Not goals. Rules. For example, I never skip workouts. I work 2 focused hours daily. I read every night. Rules remove decision-making. Rules create consistency. That's the key. When something is a rule, you stop debating. You just do it. That's discipline. That's the key. Your mind will test you. It will look for loopholes. It will try to convince you to bend the rules. Don't negotiate. Stick to the standard. That's the key. This is how strong people are built. Not by motivation, by mental control. That's the key. Another truth. Your environment affects your mind. If you surround yourself with laziness, your mind becomes lazy. If you surround yourself with discipline, your mind gets stronger. Choose your influences wisely. That's the key. Limit distractions. Reduce noise. Create focus. That's how you train the mind. That's the key. Over time, your mind will adapt. It will resist less. It will obey faster. Discipline will feel natural. That's the key. Most people never train their mind. They let it wander. They let it control them. That's why they struggle. You're different. You're building mastery. That's the key. You don't need their permission. You don't need to feel ready. You command action. That's the key. This chapter taught you mental control. You learned to interrupt hesitation. You learned to command yourself. You learned that action defeats fear and resistance. You mastered training your mind to obey. Now it's time for the final step. Because discipline is not something you do sometimes. It's who you become. You trained your mind. Now let's talk about becoming the person who never quits. Chapter 10. Become the person who never quits. Discipline is not something you do. It's something you become. That's the key. At first, discipline feels forced. You push. You struggle. You resist. But over time, it becomes who you are. And once it becomes identity, it becomes unstoppable. That's the key. Most people try discipline like a phase. They work hard for a week, then quit. They treat consistency like a challenge, not a lifestyle. That's why they fail. Discipline must become your standard, not your experiment. That's the key. You have a choice. Try to be disciplined, or become disciplined. That's the key. When discipline is part of your identity, you no longer ask if you should act. You just do. You no longer negotiate with weakness. You follow your standards. That's the key. Strong people have strong standards. Weak people have weak standards. Standards decide your future. That's the key. Your standard might be, I don't skip workouts. I do the work even when tired. I finish what I start. These are not goals. They are rules. They define who you are. That's the key. Once something is part of your identity, quitting feels wrong. Just like brushing your teeth. Just like showing up to work. It's not optional. It's who you are. That's the key. This is how winners stay consistent for years. Not motivation. Identity. They see themselves as disciplined. So they act disciplined. That's the key. Another truth. The person who never quits is not special. They've just decided that quitting is not an option. They've removed it from their choices. That's the key. When quitting is an option, you'll eventually take it. When it's not, you'll find a way forward. That's the key. You don't need their permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You need commitment. Long-term commitment. That's the key. Life will challenge you. You will get tired. You will get discouraged. You will face setbacks. That's normal. The disciplined person continues anyway. That's the key. They don't stop because of failure. They adjust and keep moving. They don't quit because it's hard. They push because it's hard. That's the key. Here's a powerful mindset. You don't start over. You continue. Bad day. Continue. Missed a habit. Continue. Low energy. Continue. That's the key. There is no restarting. Only continuing. Discipline is momentum. And momentum is built by never quitting. That's the key. Another truth. Success is not about perfection. It's about persistence. You will mess up. You will slip. That's normal. What matters is getting back on track fast. That's the key. Never miss twice. Never quit completely. Always continue. That's the key. Over time, your consistency will outperform talent. Your persistence will outperform motivation. Your discipline will outperform excuses. That's the key. This is how ordinary people build extraordinary lives. Not by being perfect, by being relentless. That's the key. Look at anyone successful long term. They didn't win every day, but they never stopped. They kept going. They kept showing up. They kept pushing. That's the key. You can do the same. You are capable, but you must commit. You must decide. Discipline is your lifestyle now. That's the key. From this point forward, you are not someone who quits. You are not someone who waits. You are not someone who makes excuses. You are someone who shows up. Every day. No matter what. That's the key. Say it to yourself. I'm disciplined. I finish what I start. I never quit. Say it again. I'm disciplined. I finish what I start. I never quit. That's the key. Your identity shapes your actions. Your actions shape your future. And discipline shapes everything. That's the key. This chapter taught you to turn discipline into identity. You learned that quitting is removed as an option. You learned that persistence beats perfection. You mastered becoming the person who never quits. And now, you understand the full truth. Motivation starts things. Discipline finishes them. Discipline builds habits. Discipline builds strength. Discipline builds success. Every time.